was the music of Edward Grieg, The Air from the Holberg Suite. I'm vk3sl and welcome to the afternoon session. He just sort of made it today. It's been a crazy week. But we are trying to make the most of things. Another big hiccup on the family front, but, life goes on. Yeah, I've got a croaky voice at the moment, and it may be for a particular reason, which we'll may find out about in the next little while, but we'll see. Anyhow, we will...
Good afternoon.
And hello to you there, Frank. How are you?
Pretty well. Trust you're well.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think I might have the big C. We'll see. We'll find out.
Oh, look out.
Yeah. See, I was the last person standing, and my father got it during the week, and it hit him really bad, and he's been in hospital. That's all been a bit horrible. So, but I've had a lot to do with his meeting his needs, so I've been exposed a lot. So that's the story. But I think he's going to be all right. Anyhow, that's
So
life.
if that's the case in your case, because of the work, that means isolate for 7 days. Is that the...
Oh, well, if it happens, I will. But who knows? I don't want to get hung up on that. I just take one day as it comes. But I'm getting some pretty dodgy symptoms.
Yeah.
Never the mind. We soldier on. We'll find a few 20s hits. That'll set the scene. Yes, so anyhow, have you been involved in the Spicks and Specs program?
Did since I last spoke to you, another couple of eps, so...
Okay.
And it's there's a little bit of a hiatus for a little while now, because I think one of the cast members has got another commitment.
Oh, I see, right.
And, but yeah,
okay.
all good fun, so...
Good. Has it got the same vibe as the original series, I wonder?
Sorry, what was that?
Has it got the same vibe as the...
Yeah, kind of, yeah. It's essentially the same team, and it's, it's obviously, in the, the modern era, but
yes,
yeah, it's certainly, very similar vibe,
Sure.
A few new games and
okay.
a couple of different ideas, but yeah, the same stuff. All of the games that people love are there still, the substitute, and when a band plays something in the style of and all that sort of stuff.
That's all good fun. Yeah, I always enjoy that. It's it's excellent. Yeah.
Are you able to say when they might go to air?
I haven't found out yet. I'll sort of later in the run I'll have a quiz, but I'm thinking about the lineup. I don't know that it'll be too far. Like after we finish, I'd sort of expect to start perhaps seeing them around July, August. Perhaps, it could be that early.
Really looking forward. Good afternoon, Steve.
And hello to you, Frank. And how
and
things
Frank.
are? Yeah. You keeping well?
Yes, everything's okay.
Okay.
Everything's okay.
Right. Oh, very good. Excellent.
And you?
Oh, yeah. Well, as I was saying to Frank, it's been a bit of a rotten week, to be honest. We've had another sort of upheaval here. And, my old man has got COVID. And... and I've been sort of looking after him a fair bit, so it'll be a miracle if I don't get it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he's been in the hospital. Well, he's out now. He's fine, but he'll be all right, I think. But it was pretty full on for a while, I have to say, more full on than what I expected. But maybe my family are particularly vulnerable to something in the.
My son David's just called in. He's not really too well. He came went home at lunchtime and
okay. Oh well.
feeling very tired and
there's a few things going, a few lurgies going around, but I don't want to hype on about it. It's just
same.
It just becomes tiresome.
No.
So so please, people will forgive me if I'm not quite the full calibre. I'm certainly fighting off something in my throat. Anyhow, we'll make sense. Yes, hello there, Mr. Stewart.
You've got the talk fest going.
Oh, yes.
The talk part. Quite a bit of progress on the shortwave.
Oh, yes, please. What's the latest?
And we've agreed on a price, which is quite fair, I think.
Okay, so we were able to negotiate.
That's not the problem. It has to go through ACMA and stuff.
Yes.
And so basically, it's looking pretty good.
Okay, tremendous. Have you been allocated a frequency yet?
No, well, I know which ones I'll get.
Yes.
Which are quite good ones.
Okay, terrific.
So...
look, that's marvellous.
I'll email you a detail.
Yes.
There's one fly in the ointment. For one of the channels that may be a problem.
Right, at certain times, or is it just to do with the propagation patterns?
No, do with regulations
Ah.
and the 35th parallel.
Oh, okay.
But
yes.
we're hoping anyway. Yeah, so look, I think at least one of them will come through.
Yes.
And probably two. And yeah, I did some experiments. I was experimenting with that sideband thing.
Yes, you mentioned that last week. What's the latest with that?
That should be really good. I think it's just combining the transmitters so they don't pop.
Yes.
Now, I thought I'll just try out on those frequencies. I thought I'll just try out 30 watts from the Codan, like, from a Class A amp.
Yes.
You can hardly tell the difference between that and the full power.
Is that right?
Like it's fading up and down 20, 30 dB.
Yes.
It just doesn't go up 5. It just, in good conditions, you wouldn't know. Bad conditions, it won't work. It won't work anyhow.
No.
And so, like...
This is with the suppressed carrier, double sideband, isn't it?
Well, that's full AM, like
okay.
Just like you would feeding it in your...
Yeah, sure.
And, so, like it's... if I was unattended, just leave a Codan running with a signal generator.
Yes.
And if its conditions are bad, people can't hear it. If conditions are good, it'll be booming through. So
it'll give the shortwave listener something to talk about.
And the big mitters when I'm around.
When you're around, that sounds like a good idea.
So anyway, that's the update. So
yes.
We'll cross our fingers and hope it all goes to plan.
Well, it sounds really good. It sounds like it's all happening, Dave. It's great to hear. We'll look forward to all having those frequencies at hand, so we can put them into our memory banks on our wireless sets, and have you on call. That'll be great. So and we've got the Hamfest, of course, coming up. I did put that in the diary.
Oh yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
I think I need to buy lots of coax cables, things like that.
Sure.
Because I have to set up a fair bit of stuff.
You will.
And things.
You will. You'll need
Cable
all of those
connectors.
ancillary bits and pieces.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of stuff I need to take from here. Most of it's crap.
Sure.
Just take the best stuff.
Yes.
And
maybe find a couple of signal generators and maybe some more Codans.
Oh yes, more Codans, more signal generators.
Yes.
That's what I need.
That's right.
Because if they pop, well, I haven't got that many in supply.
Yes, you just need to have a rack of them just to switch in at
for
will.
Standby purposes.
Yeah, that's right. You need standbys for standbys for standbys.
Yeah, well, the ACMA, broadcast rules, you have to have standbys for standbys.
That's right. Has to all be in sync. So then you'll have your fail alarm as well, and all of the and your dump button and your 7-second delay.
I think the trick will be like here. It's become too over complex. Like rack panels and rack stuff. It's going to be so simple. Basically, stick a card in the thing.
Yes.
Through a just through a limiter and into the mitters.
Yeah, but you want another booth. You'll have to make a booth.
Yeah, well, that'll be in the mitters sheds or something.
Yes.
And upstairs, and I might just have, the Yamaha mixer computer to make programs. And
that's right.
And the option to send it down the line, but probably just be recorded and stuck in a card thing.
Yes, that's fair enough.
And I just set and forget. That's the only way it can work. I can't.
I think so. Otherwise, you'll be a slave to it like you were before.
It can't be. It needs to be like a stream. It was just on 24 hours a day. If it worked, it did. It didn't.
That's right.
Whatever.
Exactly. No,
every few
makes
weeks,
sense.
it's not working. You check it and reset it, and it goes again, and that's all you worry about.
Indeed. Yeah. No, it sounds like a good plan.
It'll probably about have the same ratings too, I should think.
Yeah.
About 3. But anyway, see what happens.
So, how many watts of AM will you run with the Codans?
Oh, look, probably 30 or 40.
Just low. Okay.
But if I was running the sideband synthesis thing, it would be 100 watts carrier.
Sure. Okay.
Well, I can run up to a kilowatt if I want. No, 5 kilowatts.
You've got 5 kilowatt license, don't you?
But see, the cost of that is just unbelievable.
It would be prohibitive, and it would outweigh the hobby domain. Yeah.
I think 500 watts is a good compromise.
Yep.
So anything like you've got to go dB scale and stuff is weird.
What was Mr. 5050? He was only running a few hundred watts, wasn't he?
About 400, I think.
Yeah, wasn't much. He was using one of those Greek transmitters, one of those Class E.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that'd be another option. They weren't cool.
If it keeps going, I'll do that option. I'll buy a solid-state mitters.
Yes.
Or maybe Mr. Don could lend me one of his 1,000 mitters.
Yes, that's right.
Sitting there.
That's right, exactly. You could give them all a bit of a run.
You've got plenty.
Yeah, you just dump one in the shed and you'll be right.
They work well.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm sure he'd be happy to share the load.
Yeah. It's only just those things that are terrible on like. They take 500 watts to sit there glowing without putting out any power.
I know, that's true.
In fact, those 813 and 807 meters, they're pretty efficient, really.
When you think of what's going on.
I mean, I think the 48071 one takes, 300 watts to run it, and it puts 110 watts out.
It is. It's very efficient.
Which is not that bad.
It's not bad at all for hollow state technology. It's pretty impressive, really, because you run them sort of in a fairly comfortable zone. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is with those big emitters, the blowers take 400 watts, and the filament like
generator
50 amps at 20 volts or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So unless you're running 10 kilowatts, it's a total waste of space.
It certainly are. Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, you might be the new Radio Australia, because it looks like it may be back on the map. They might proposition you. They might say, here we go.
Well, wouldn't it be a joke if I got the licences and they want to come back and they pay me $10 million for it?
Yes, they could. They might. It might be like a wind farm. You might get the windfall.
That's right.
Yes.
And look, the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if they reinstate it.
Oh, look, I think they probably will. I think it'll possibly happen.
They should.
Isn't it extraordinary? It would be such a bizarre change of state.
Missed.
Yeah, it was just such lack of foresight initially.
I think the day they bulldoze down the towers at Shep, the next day they'll say we need a shortwave service.
Oh, they will. That's right. That's exactly it. But I did hear from somebody, I can't remember, maybe it was on the coffee break, but the Shep building is being kept and run by a local radio club or something, and they're going to keep some of the antennas.
Yeah, I think that was always a plan.
Yeah, so in some capacity, but it obviously won't be sort of serviced as a full-on shortwave station.
Well, see, if we're only interested in the Pacific, it's simple. Just stick a dipole somewhere. Maybe something a bit more advantaged. But it doesn't have to be a worldwide station like Shep with different switch yards to beam stuff all over the world to Europe, and we don't need that.
No.
And it would actually be very simple. 50 kilowatts into a dipole.
But there's a station up in Northern Territory, isn't there, that could be requisitioned for that purpose?
Well, they could. They'd lease that, and they could probably break the lease.
Well, that was the one that HCJB's using, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
So it's probably could easily be re-requisitioned or shared,
they could probably just
multiplexed or something.
Time off them.
They could. They may well do that.
And
interesting.
Look, the Army and Navy have stations they could put AM on and get a reasonable signal anyhow. Immediately. I
think so.
So it could all be done.
It could be done in a flash. So watch this space. Wouldn't it be good hearing they can borrow all these Radio Australia carts I've got here.
Well, that's right. And the interesting thing is I've been looking at some of the better SDRs that are in the noise-free zones, looking at channels and frequencies. There's so much on shortwave. Like, it's so busy.
Right.
People say it's dead. Well, you listen to you just hear crap.
Yes.
But it's just, there's little traces and there's so much voice stuff. So much data. Just all over the place.
Wow.
And
that's great.
China's they're running superpower and 20 kilohertz bandwidth, just so no one else can use the band.
Yes.
It's just unrestricted audio.
Yep.
So they're
omnipresent.
5 channels of space that no one else can use.
That's right. That's the way it is. I've noticed that. Incredible. But that's the new normal. But now it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But you're on a good course there, and I'm trying to look at dates for potential speaker catch-ups. We can do a speaker missions and talk about that at some point, but I don't think there's many weeks left for you, is there?
Well, look, probably the speakers will be the last thing I move.
Yeah.
Or I might just make a new set and keep them here. So, look, it can be after that date. I'll be coming back at some point.
Yeah, I suppose so, yes. We'll try and make it happen.
Probably not all that much, but if there's a ham fest or something I'm going to, I might stay down for a couple of days.
Oh, look, initially, I'm sure you'll just want to just enjoy that setting and settle into it all.
God, the weather's crap here in winter, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, God, yeah, isn't it? What a shock.
Overcast and crappy, and it is actually better in Bendigo.
I'm sure it is.
It gets cold at night, but you don't have these just overcast nothing days.
I know, they're dreadful.
And I've had to wear a jacket and a beanie. It's just terrible.
Yep, that's it. That's the way.
How bad winter
I know.
And we're not even in Norway. I don't know how they survive.
That's right, exactly.
Anyway, I better let you get back to
all right, no, that's all good. I'm pleased to have
talkers.
No,
hello, Frank and Frank.
Yeah.
Evening, Stu.
Yeah.
Evening.
All right. Well, it's good to get updates, and we've had the Spics and Specs update, we've had the shortwave update, and Mr. JR, any news in your station?
I've just got to go and organise the takeaway.
Oh, yes, okay. You better do the food. That's a priority. Yeah. Well, now, what am I going to do?
A bit of music for you to check out at your leisure, Steve.
Oh, yes.
You might find interesting.
Yes, please.
One of the guitarists from Metallica has released a little 4-track EP.
Oh, really?
Called Portais, Portais.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
His name's Kirk Hammett.
Kirk Hammett, Portais.
And it's interesting because it's got heavy overtones, but there's stringed instruments in there and woodwinds
very good.
And a bit of French horn. And
how about that?
It's an interesting, a little 4-track EP. I think it came out sort of late January, and just been having a listen.
Oh, look, I'll have a listen to that.
Yeah, I think you'll find some interest in it.
Oh, fabulous. So Portais, now who's the artist again?
Kirk, K-I-R-K.
Yep.
Surname Hammett, H-A-M-E-T-T.
Hammett, yes, that's from Metallica.
He was once a student of Mr. Satriani.
Ah, very good. Excellent. Oh, well, that'll be great. I look forward to hearing that. My daughter's just bought an ELO album, and she is over the moon.
Oh, wow. Jeff Lynne and the crew.
Yeah, so we'll have to sample that too.
They're always great sounding things.
Oh, yeah, it's just so epic. She was so excited yesterday, and she played it. So we'll play that at some stage too.
Very high production values.
Oh, yeah, it's just excellent. It's epic. Well, we haven't had our 20s hit yet, gentlemen, so I think we'll have to indulge with, in this instance, the music of Freddie Rich and his Hotel Astor Orchestra. This is a track from 1926, Moonlight on the Ganges is the name, and it's from Mr. 24, whatever he is, who he is on YouTube, Mr. Gregors, 240252. Oriental flavours from the 20s, a track called Moonlight on the Ganges. Fred Rich and his Hotel Astor Orchestra from 1926. quite an unusual record. I always find those sort of exotic flavours from the 20s interesting, and you often hear Egyptian reference as well, with all that interest in what was happening in Egypt with the Tutankhamun discovery and what have you. That set the scene. In fact, Egyptian Ella is a good track. I wonder if I can find a copy of Egyptian Ella, E-G-Y-P-T.
Yeah, you mentioned that would have been actually interesting to sort of had a bit of that music on hand while we were in the Valley of the Kings a couple of years back.
Oh, right.
Because it.
Yes.
Yes, thinking about that very much the time it would have been. Wow, yeah.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, interesting. Well, there's a... here we go. Here's a dial-up and another recording of... This is one with Ted Lewis and his band. Now, if I can find the relevant track, it's part of one of the Prozoot aggregates. Now, if we can just find him here and isolate the track in question. It's a very good take on Egyptian Ella, and it is so... Oh, it's just such an exotic track. I love it. Now, but I've got to find it. And someone puts timestamps on Prozoot. And here we go. 2 minutes in. We'll find it. Have a listen to this, folks. This is just fabulous. That's not the one I was looking for. We had it a moment ago and we lost it a moment later. Here we go. Egyptian Ella, take 2.
Ella was a dancing girl who started getting fat, and every day brought 2 more pounds to Ella. Look out. Till one day she found she lost her job because of that. Then to make it worse, poor Ella lost a fella. Oh, say. So she sailed to Egypt to forget. Yes, sir. But she made a hit. She's there yet. Oh, boy, if you hear of a gal who can shake and quake till it makes you think of a nervous snake, they're speaking of nobody but Egyptian Ella. She weighs 220, but they don't care. They like her plenty way out there. And she's got the love of every fella. Yes, sir. She does a dance, and when she starts by that river Nile, the boys all take their old sweethearts and throw them to the crocodiles, and every sheik in the audience jumps up and yells that she's immense. How they love Egyptian Ella. Wow. Step right in, ladies and gentlemen. See Egyptian Ella. Egyptian Ella, why she even, yes sir, just like jelly on a plate. Ow.
Ted Lewis was such an entertainer. That is just gold, that record. Fantastic solos on that record. In fact, Ted Lewis had an all-star band at that point. And that recording includes none other than Benny Goodman, very klezmer-inspired. Clarinet solos on that. Fats Waller was in the band at that point as well, and also Muggsy Spanier and George Bruni's on trombone.
It really had that sort of slightly syncopated style too, didn't it?
Oh, it did. It's just full of flavour and exoticism, and I love it.
Yeah, and it's because one of the places we stayed in over there, we went down south to Aswan.
Yeah.
Was the Old Cataract Hotel, which is right on the Nile, and it's where Murder on the Nile was written.
Really?
She still had her little desk set up in the foyer with her old chair from the room.
Oh, how about that?
She sat and wrote on it, and it was in a real old worldly type hotel, very much of that era.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so listening to that, you can kind of take me back there, and I can sort of almost picture sitting there on that back balcony overlooking the river with a pith hat on and a gin and tonic. And,
indeed.
It's very,
very evocative.
Great.
It's fabulous. Yeah, no, certain flavours of the Nile, and that would have been a great experience. I love that sort of transcending time experience where you can effectively transport yourself back to any time and place. But in that instance, is a bit of 20s and a bit of 3,000 years ago. Yeah,
well, that was very much going to the, particularly we went to Saqqara down in the old capital Memphis, about 30, 40k south of Cairo.
Yeah.
And the Step Pyramid of Djoser there, which is the oldest pyramid.
Okay.
The first one they built.
Oh,
and
wow.
the great thing about that was it was relatively uncrowded. There were very few people there that day, and that was really like stepping back in time. It was just so...
Tremendous.
It's really well preserved. There's a monstrous amount of diggings going on all around it. And a lot of the old temples still intact and all the ante-rooms and things.
Wow, so can you move through those spaces?
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
You actually enter the courtyard through the old temple. You walk through the main corridor in it. And
wow.
It's this huge stonework. And
so how preserved are things inside the pyramid? So they still got... Can you still see colour and pigment?
Yeah, in some of the tombs and things you can. Some of the tombs are amazing. The Valley of the Kings. I've got some photographs. The tomb of... See, Tutankhamun's tomb is not that spectacular. We didn't bother going into it. We went to that. We were recommended go to the others. They're much better. And one of them was one of the tombs of Ramesses.
Okay.
The colours in there are just spectacular.
Really?
Yeah. Quite stunning. And they've now got wires too. They've kind of put little walkways and things in. They've put LED lighting in so that they can... It picks out the colour and doesn't damage things, so you can still photograph and without having to use flash. And
that's really clever.
And it's quite remarkable.
Because people will always use flash if they have a chance.
Oh, well, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
You see it. Yeah. People like particularly say phone cameras when they're like a night sky type thing. You see the flash going off, and you're kind of going, why bother? But anyway.
Yes, indeed.
It really is transformative because some of those places, if you're there without all of the modern, dressed crowds around,
yes,
you can really imagine yourself being back in that time.
Yeah,
it's quite surreal.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I can just imagine, and the enormity, the scope of those places must be absolutely mind-blowing.
And just how much is there, like wherever you go, and then the guides that we had on our tour, Egyptologists and all saying that their estimates amongst their community is that they think they've uncovered of the order of about 30% of what's there.
Isn't that incredible?
The majority of it's still under there.
Still hidden.
While we were there, on one of the days, the trip from Luxor, the town, which I think was called Thebes, the old, and that's on the east side of the river because the way Egypt's set up is essentially the east side is the side of life, because that's where the sun rises, and the west is the side of death, and that's where all the temples and the tombs are, typically.
Right.
All the tombs.
Yes.
So the Valley of the Kings is on the west side of the Nile near the old Thebes, or now Luxor.
Yeah.
So you cross the bridge and head over in there, and you pass the Colossi of Memnon on the way.
Yeah.
And there's a big dig going on behind that. And while we were there, they'd found something. They were standing up a couple of new monuments that they'd uncovered. And our guide, Sam, was saying, he said, yeah, he said, look, next time you come here in a few years' time, he said, there'll be more. It's just they're finding stuff all the time.
Isn't that wonderful? Now, how do they...
fascinating.
It is fascinating. How do they address context with it all? Do they remove things? Do they sort of photograph it in situ?
It depends on what it is. Where it can be kept in situ and protected, I think they do.
Yes.
But they've now built the new Museum of Egypt in Cairo. So we went to... The old one was still functioning when we were there.
Yeah.
The new one opened about a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And that's a monstrous big new space.
Mm.
And so what they're doing is where stuff needs to be kept in an environment to preserve it, that's going up to the museum and going into, like climate-controlled circumstances and has preservation done on it.
Yes.
But a lot of stuff around the temples where if it's kind of okay and it can be protected in situ, then that's what they're kind of trying to do. So.
Yes, I mean, it would even be worth their while to 3D print some artefacts and just recreate perhaps some of the more fragile things, just for the sake of...
We've watched a few documentaries of late. The other thing they're now doing is they're using really sophisticated photographic and laser scanning techniques in a lot of these places. So in a tomb or a new thing, the first thing they go in is with a scanner that literally maps the size and the cavity accurately and picks up a lot of fine detail.
Yes.
And then they go and do this full spread photographic work that all then gets combined into a virtual model of the whole place.
Oh, okay.
Incredible.
It sounds extraordinary. Absolutely amazing.
And they kind of do that now before they really do too much else. So the idea is they preserve it as it is.
Yes.
They can get that into the digital domain. And it's interesting, on a lot of digs, they've found information out purely from that modelling process that is still not even apparent to the naked eye. It picks up that much detail.
Really? How amazing is that? That's astonishing, the frontier of archaeology. But I can only imagine they'll be able to create 3D worlds of these things soon.
Absolutely.
It'll be a virtual reality.
And, we'll build reproductions if required.
Yes, indeed. That's right. I mean, once they've got those everything in relative position, they can, I suppose, the sky's the limit, really, in one sense.
At that Saqqara, the temple there near Memphis, that step pyramid, we watched a documentary that was shot in probably 20 or 21. They uncovered the first funerary complex near a pyramid that they've discovered.
Oh, really?
And it was subterranean.
Right.
And they found all the antechambers where they actually prepared the bodies, and they found all of the raw ingredients and the containers for the embalming and the wrapping and even the various grades and, bodies in different states of preparedness. And
so it was interrupted in a state of flux, was it? Was it sort of...
Yeah, as in like it literally, it sort of was kind of being used and maybe abandoned, of course, because when the last of the Ptolemaics, Cleopatra died, I think, and the Romans took over. I think a lot of that would have stopped fairly abruptly because there wouldn't have been a market for it anymore.
No, it's a good point. And suddenly it just was all left to just to the elements.
Yep.
How about that? I mean, I know a lot of places were pillaged earlier on, and they have to sort of work out what was disturbed and how it was disturbed. That's another.
Well, that's the reason for the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah.
They stopped playing pyramids because this big obvious. Here lies the treasure.
Yes, indeed, that's right, exactly. Yes, you can't get a better a stamp than that. Extraordinary stuff. Oh, look, we'll look forward to we'll do some Egyptian missions. We'll find some recordings that set the scene and continue this theme.
Some nice Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
That'd be fab.
I think it'd be very good. It'd be excellent. Well, I've got another track from that same session with Ted Lewis back in 1927 it is.
Very good.
These are Vivatone Columbia records using the very best of Western electric equipment. At that time, they are just astonishing in their reproduction. For 1927, it just blows your mind, really. And they were using early condenser mics, I think, at that time, and they really had it worked out. They just sound so good. And so we'll continue. And from that same session, using the star band that Ted Lewis had in that year, featuring Fats Waller and Benny Goodman, George Bruni's, Muggsy Spanier, others, they performed I'm Crazy About My Baby with Fats at the piano and vocal. It's a fabulous track. And just listen to the quals. It's something to behold.
Creature, tell me what can worry be? I'm crazy about my baby, baby's crazy about me. Mr. Cupid was our teacher, that's the reason we agree. I'm crazy about my baby, baby's crazy about me. Parson, get that book out, ready in your hand. Keep a steady lookout. You can understand it's an A1 combination with a perfect he and she. I'm crazy about my baby, baby's crazy about me. Get that book out, hold it in your hand. Keep steady lookout, you can understand. Baby's crazy about me, baby's crazy about me.
Fats Waller with the Ted Lewis Band. Actually, that record was 1931. I made an error there. The first track on this conglomerate of recordings was 27, but not that one.
It sounded a bit like Fats Waller.
Yeah, it was. It was Fats Waller. It was Fats Waller. He was guesting with the Ted Lewis Band for a short period. Yeah, it's an all-star band, and it also featured Benny Goodman on the clarinet on that, and Muggsy Spanier on trumpet. It's a fantastic lineup.
Right.
It's just amazing. They sort of just really did incredible things. So that's rather special, that track, and the balance engineers just got it right. It just sounds so good in here. It's amazing. So there we go. That's a couple of Ted Lewis tracks. There is one from 27. We probably should play it for the sake of completion. We can hear the very first in the setting. This is one of Mr. Prozoot's uploads from a couple of years ago. I think this one actually features Ruth Etting on vocals, but this one genuinely is back in 1927. And his hits with gear changes in that instance there.
They certainly were. It was great.
Yeah, terrific stuff. And the brass bass.
I've got to go and eat.
Oh, sure. No worries, Frank.
I'll spend a little time with David.
Yes.
So it could be...
That's fine. Look, I probably won't go terribly late tonight. There's a fair bit happening around here.
Yeah, that suits me extremely well. The only thing of note I found musically is it is International Tuba Day today. You'll be pleased to know.
Oh, well, that's a good segue. We'll see if we can find something tuba. We just heard a good brass bass in that last record.
That's right.
Yeah, we could.
Anyway, I'll leave it with you. I'll be back soon.
Look, okay. Well, look. Tonight I'll do what we usually do. That's the intention, and just depending on how my energy levels are going at that stage.
And feel free to stop if you know.
We'll just sort of. So we'll just take one step at a time, but we'll do our usual strut a little bit later on. So So people feel inclined, you can listen in at 11:30 tonight, and we'll do more missions, more nostalgia. And I'm going to have to get a heater in here because it's so cold. It's freezing in this room.
It's freezing.
It's terrible. This weather. It's not fair. Shouldn't happen.
It's great. The first flakes of snow fell.
Oh, yes. See, you're celebrating because you're a snow bunny. You like the snow. You like getting out there.
Absolutely.
You do. So, that's. I'm sure it'll be. You'll be rugging up and enjoying the season when it begins in a few weeks' time. That's
5 weeks away.
Yeah, we need to get a direct relay from the. Yeah, maybe we could see now. We should try something on 5 megs or something now that we have those. Other frequencies available.
Oh yeah,
You never know.
Codan will do it in the truck, so
yeah,
it's no issue.
That's right. We could find a way. You can give us the snow report. That could be good. Yeah. Well, that's all happening. We can certainly feel it in the air. Okay. Well, we'll continue now with something. I'll play another proto jazz record because these are always subjects of interest. Hearing the sort of genesis of syncopated music. Here's a really interesting one. And Frank might hear it on the replay, or I might play it again tonight for Mr. JR. But it's Darktown Strutters Ball was a big hit in 1917. But there's this Canadian group called the Six Brown Brothers, and they played saxophones, sort of a novelty vaudeville group, really. But they're really, really amazing players, and they just do this great syncopated arrangement of Darktown Strutters Ball in 1917. So this sort of goes way back to that early ragtime period. So we can play it, have a listen, see what you think. Darktown Strutters Ball is another one from our Polish correspondent. So there's a bit of lead in with this. So we'll just let the track align itself and have a listen. 1917. I'm vk3sl. Test missions. Antecedent Ragtime Muzak, the music of a Afro-American ragtime composer, Shelton Brooks. He wrote that in 1917, and this recording was made shortly thereafter. In fact, it was premiered by the original Dixieland Jazz Band. And we've got versions of this abound. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to do a strut on the Darktown Strutters Ball. So what we'll do is we'll find the other original recording from 1917, ODJB, the original Dixieland Jazz Band, and their Darktown Strutters Ball. We'll hear their version, same year, and that would have inspired the recording we just heard with the 6 saxophones. And indeed, you could hear some grain on the bass sax in that record. I thought it sounded good. Here we go. Original Dixieland Jazz Band. This one goes way back. This was a big hit. In fact, this put syncopated music on the very big stage. Suddenly, it became sort of established, not always for the right reasons, but it got out there. Here we go. We're just starting, and we're finding, and we are initiating Darktown Strutters Ball. That took the world by storm and absorbing the influences of the Afro-American traditions and synthesizing it and selling it. They sold it so well and it became the new normal and everything changed.
The viral hit of their day, hey?
That was the viral record. That record just changed everything. After that time, everyone was imitating the ODJB, and then bands started to move out of their brass band antecedents and started to swing and move and solo and break away. Of course, these things have been happening in provincial circles for a long time before, but they didn't get the magnitude. They didn't get the play and for reasons we all understand. So, yeah, that's a very, very significant record. And there's some great recordings of that song. It sort of permeated through the ages. Now, I've just got a great version for Mr. W, which I'm going to play in a minute, but we're going to stand by and play a couple more.
It's interesting, like I'm not familiar with the period at all, but I have heard that Darktown Strutters. Yeah. I've heard that phrase before and references to it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Look, here's another one. This is a great recording of Fats Domino.
Well, I must away for doing dinner duty stuff, so we'll attempt to listen. But,
okay, see
you later on, but I'll... Yeah.
Sure. No worries. All understood. That's fine. Great to catch up with you, Frank, and we look forward to, I'll be on board tomorrow.
Hopefully,
and Sunday.
You're feeling okay, and that it
Thanks, mate. Yeah,
all comes to naught.
We'll see what happens. And look, if it doesn't, well, we've got another week of missions.
There you go.
So there we go.
vk3sl, vk3op. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll continue. Fats Domino and his take on the Darktown Strutters Ball from 1950 Mumble.
I'll be there to get you in a taxi, honey. Better be ready, but help us see. Now, baby, don't be late. I want to be there when the band starts playing. Remember when we get there, honey. Two-step, I'm going to have them all. Gonna dance out of both of my shoes. When it plays old Jelly Roll Blues. Tomorrow night at the Downtown Strutters Ball. Get you in a taxi, honey. Better be ready about 8:30. Now, baby, don't be late. I want to be there when the band starts playing. Remember when we get there, honey. Two-step, I'm going to have them all. Gonna dance all the boot of my shoes. When they play those Jelly Roll Blues. Tomorrow night at the Downtown Strutters Ball.
That's Domino and his take on the Darktown Strutters Ball. Doing a bit of a strut theme today. We found an early recording or two of that work and we're sort of working through the generations and hearing a few others. There's a great one too of Les Paul. Les Paul and Mary Ford. They had their take on this work. In fact, it's a part of a little bit of a doco, short doco on the two. I reckon it's worth a listen. There's more to it. There's a few 1950s advertising features stuck in between. It's a video doc, but it does speak for itself, and it's certainly worth a play. Let's have a listen to Les Paul, and it does feature Alabama Bound and the Darktown Strutters Ball. I'm vk3sl, testing.
Vaya con Dios, my love.
There, that finally puts the old guitar back together again.
And this puts all the old socks back together again.
Oh, you want to relax and do a song?
I'd love to.
I'm Alabama bound. There'll be no heebie-jeebies hanging around. Just gave the meanest ticket man on earth all the world. With my tootsies in and out of burrs, just hear that choo-choo sound. Know that soon we're gonna cover ground. And then I'll holler so the world will know. Here I go. I'm Alabama bound.
Les and Mary do another song, look at this. The coffee is piping hot. The toast is buttered. The eggs are precisely right. But sometimes it takes more than that to thaw out a husband. It takes special attention to personal details, like taking more effective care of your breath. Why count on toothpaste alone? The most common cause of bad breath is germs in the mouth. No toothpaste is antiseptic. So no toothpaste kills germs the way Listerine antiseptic does, instantly, by millions. That's why Listerine stops bad breath 4 times better than any toothpaste. Listerine antiseptic stops bad breath 4 times better than any toothpaste. What a difference.
Honey, have you seen my scissors?
I borrowed them to fix the guitar here.
Oh, well, I can't find the needle I was using either.
It was around here. I think it's in the box there. While you're looking around, I'll play Darktown Strutter's Ball.
Honey, you must have dropped that needle in the guitar.
Uh-oh.
Now you'll have to take it all apart.
Just for a needle? Jiminy, we may have found a brand new sound. I think we should leave it alone, just as it is.
So long, folks.
Can you imagine looking for a needle in a guitar stack? So long, folks.
Les Paul and Mary Ford at home, and their bottle of Listerine saved the day, and they found that sound. There we go, that was all right, Les Paul. And Alabama-bound Ducktown Strutter's Ball, it's sort of our piece of investigation, and we will find another version of this one here. Tell Mulry, the Ted Mulry Gang. This one courtesy of Mr. W. The Ducktown Strutter's Ball in 1976. Wait for it, folks. This will be good.
you in a taxi, honey, pick you up by 8:30. Oh, honey, don't be late. I wanna be there when the band starts playing. Remember when we get there, honey, 2 steps I'm gonna have them on. I'm gonna dance out both my shoes when they play the Backstreet Blues. Tomorrow night at the Dogtown Strutters. Tomorrow night at the Dogtown Strutters. Tomorrow night at the Dogtown Strutters. Oh, yeah, all right.
Timber Gang there from 1976 and their take on the Dogtown Strutters theme. And we've had a few riffs on that subject, and I've got to move inside, folks, but I dashed in just before and picked up stole a record out of Olivia's room. This is her latest find. In fact, I was hoping she'd come in and tell us about it, and she would if she was here, but she's gone. She's somewhere else. And she was very excited about this, and she did give me permission last night to play it on the radio. And it is the Electric Light Orchestra, Balance of Power. So, when did it come out? 1986, so we'll have to play this in, celebrating young people and their 80s, trajectories. It's great to hear. I love hearing this music coming from her room, which is next to mine. And so here we go. We'll play the whole album, but I will have to stop the stream. I'm sorry. So anyone listening on the stream, you'll have to listen on air or just download the album. And it's the Electric Light Orchestra, Balance of Power. So streamers,